Welcome to a new video. This time I'll be ranking my top 10 favorite airtime moments. Airtime is one of the greatest sensations roller coasters can provide, and I had a hard time picking my favorites. This list can always change. The list can include single airtime moments or a series of back-to-back hills. And without further ado, let's begin. The 10th spot takes an, in my opinion, very underrated moment. The wave turn in the structure one of Steel Vengeance. As a single airtime moment, this is my favorite on the ride. Sideways airtime is a sensation that not too many rides can provide, and Steel Vengeance executes this really well. It's a strong, rapid moment of sideways ejector airtime. On top of that, it is a very unpredictable element and it can catch you off guard. Steel Vengeance has a lot of good airtime, but this wave turn is really the cherry on top. Moving on to the 9th spot, we have a series of airtime hills that some might not expect to be on this list. The 3 back-to-back airtime hills on Ravine Flyer 2. The great thing about this ride section is the speed. The hills provide really good flow-ejector airtime, which together with the speed is an amazing feeling. As a bonus, there are tunnels during this section, making it feel all really out of control. Another great aspect here is the setting of the hills. One of them is situated on the bridge above the road, and the other two are right next to the hillside. In fact, this is my favorite airtime section on any wooden coaster that I've ridden. On number 8 we have my favorite part on Steel Vengeance, the Finality. 5 back-to-back pops of ejector airtime. This is an amazing finality and a prime example of how to end a ride with a bang. None of these bunny hills is outstanding, but because they are back-to-back you really get an out of control feel. The hills aren't as strong as they could have been, but they're just flat out so much fun. If you want the hills to be the strongest they can get, you have to be in the back of the train. Before coming to the next spot, I want to point out that the lead up onto the mid-course brake run didn't make the list, as I don't remember it being that strong. The 7th spot takes the 3 twisted hills on Piraten. Piraten features other amazing airtime moments and some really intense turns, but it's famous for these hills. The first one is strong, but definitely the weakest of the bunch. The other 2 hills are painfully strong ejector airtime moments. The reason why these are so good is because they are twisted. Rapidly changing the direction while being slammed upwards is one insane sensation. And again, because the 3 hills are back to back, they feel out of control and they are non-stop powerful. It's always fascinating to me how smaller thrill coasters like Piraten can have airtime this good. While I do love really strong ejector airtime, there was one floater moment that made the list. That is the 2nd hill on Diamondback. This hill might seem like your average B&M hyperhill, but it is far better than any hyperhill I've experienced. From the beginning to the end of the hill, you are getting consistent floater airtime. Usually I'm not the biggest floater fan, but this hill is an exception. This is how floater airtime has to be, sustained. This is the most sustained airtime moment I've ever experienced, as some of the more sustained ejector hills are not this consistent. When you get enough room on a ride, you are floating right between the seat and the clamshell restraint. It's a crazy feeling. Moving on to number 5, we got the double up, double down on Untamed. Untamed has a ton of strong ejector airtime, and the double up, double down brings it to another level. The way you are getting ejected here is so good. First, you are getting slammed upwards twice, and then you get slammed downwards twice. The airtime strength is pretty much equal to most of the other hills. It's just the way it happens here, that is adding to the strength. Number 4 is the most underrated airtime moment I know. Hardly anyone talks about it, and that might be because it's tricky to actually get airtime here. I'm talking about the 2nd drop on Nessie. From outside the ride, it looks like a rather gradual drop that doesn't do a whole lot. And in the front half of the train it really does hardly anything, but in the back of the train, with some room, that drop provides brutal standing airtime. Even when you get 20 centimeters of room, you are brutally getting slammed into the lap bar. When I get enough room, I sometimes have a legitimate fear of the airtime and don't take my hands up because of the raw brutality of the drop. The reason why some people might not get enough room is that the ride ops are rather strict. You really gotta pretend that the bar can't go further down if you want enough room. It is flat out a mental drop, and even after a lot of rides, it's still one of the few moments on a coaster that actually scare me. Moving on to number 3, we have the 2nd twisted hill on Leg Coaster. That rapid pop of ejector air is really strong and unexpected. The transition from all the intense turns into this crazy airtime moment is just phenomenal. It's not particularly the most aggressive ejector hill, but it's a ton of fun. For this hill, it's not entirely the airtime, but the general placement of the element. The hill caught me off guard on all of my rides, which is really awesome. Another Twisted Bunny hill takes the number 2 spot. Zatra's small ejector pop at the end of the ride. Here it's the same thing with the hill on leg. A small and not too special seeming element that actually is really strong. The airtime is rapid and really strong, but more importantly, it's twisted. While Leg's hill has only a slight twist, this one is more comparable to Piraten's twisted hills. The way you are getting slammed to the left and back to the right while being ejected is crazy. This is doubtless the best mix of strong laterals and airtime I've experienced. It's such a powerful element. If you are only in for the airtime on this hill, then it won't be that impressive for you. It really is the mix of laterals and airtime that makes this my second favorite airtime moment. The number 1 spot takes another series of hills. These hills are better than all the other mentioned elements by a landslide. These hills are rapid, super strong and relentless. They are quite painful because of how strong they are. My favorite airtime is on the Quadruple Hills on Untamed. I cannot describe how extreme these hills are. You are getting yeeted into the lap bar with such a power, it is crazy. Each hill on their own is extremely powerful, with the outward banked one being the strongest of the bunch. While I haven't experienced the legendary quad down on Lightning Rod, I'd go as far and say that Untamed's quad hills are the European version of that. And there you go. What are your favorite airtime moments? Thanks for watching. Bye.